Any little ones, any kids out there, come right to the front. If you've got big people in front of you, shove them out of the way. They're not important.
Go boys.
So come in nice and close, folks. Close. If I fall off here, the ground is dirty and hard. I need soft and easy things to land on. Come right in, folks. Come closer. Keep coming around this way. More people are going to join us over there. Keep coming this way, folks. Keep coming this way. I'm working till 5:30. I'll just stand here till then. Just come this way. Folks, move this side for me. Right, happy? Happy? That's all we can do about that. Right, folks, good afternoon. Welcome to His Majesty's Royal Palace and Fortress, the Tower of London. My name's Jamie Warder Lawrence, and for the next 4.5 hours, I'm going to be here. Right, little ones, come right to the front. Come closer.
Oh yeah.
I was pointing to the little one behind you, madam. Are you okay? You come to where you are. Okay, good. Right, folks. Together, you and I, we're going to tour the Tower of London. I'm going to point out some of the more historical sites, and I'm going to tell you a little something about their past. However, before I get into that detail, I've got to give you a little bit of context and explain to you how we came to be where we are today. The easiest way for me to do that is to take you right the way back to where our story begins. And I do mean right the way back. We are going to go all the way back through time. We are going to go as far back as 9 a.m. on Saturday, the 14th of October, 1066. And of course, I am talking about the famous Battle of
Hastings.
Not that famous, is it? Battle of Hastings, of course. Now, on that day, a battle takes place and it changes the course of not just English and British history, but in fact European and global history forever. On that day, two great and powerful lords, they stand opposite each other on the battlefield. On one side, we have the very last Anglo-Saxon King of England, King Harold Godwinson. Opposite him, his arch nemesis, a man called Duke William of Normandy, better known as
William the Conqueror.
Well, he wasn't known as William the Conqueror at the time, was he? He hadn't conquered anything. Does anyone know what he was actually referred to as at the time? William of Orange, about 400 years out there. Anyone?
Go on.
Sorry, say again? A bit louder for the children, sir. Sorry, kids, you hear what he said? What he said was, William the Bastard! The Bastard of Normandy! Now, that is an historical name. You can say it as much as you like. My colleagues, they don't like children, but me, I don't like your parents. William, he is victorious and he crowns himself King William I of England on Christmas Day of that same year. But there's a bit of a problem because these newly conquered subjects, we do not take too kindly to Norman domination. I mean, they were basically French. Any French in the audience today? Good. Welcome if you're out there. What he has to do though, he's got to find a way that he can subdue and overawe the citizens of London, a way of demonstrating what was their far superior Norman power. And they used this site here, just inside the old eastern city wall, where once an old Roman fortress had stood. And it was right here in the year 1078 that he authorised the building of his very first royal palace and fortress in England. Today we refer to it as the White Tower, and it is situated just beyond its defensive walls to your left. There's no point in looking because it is situated just behind its defensive walls to your left. We'll get a much better view of it once we get inside the town. Now folks, over the years this place has been used for lots and lots of other things. First and foremost though, that is the storehouse to the crown jewels and royal regalia. They are still safely stored here to this day, and they have been as far back as 1303. It was a citadel to command and defend the city of London in times of war. The Royal Mint was incorporated into this outer ballium here on Mint Street, where all coins of the entire realm, they were designed and produced right up until the year 1810. It was the site of the very first Royal Observatory, studying stars and planets, till that was moved to Greenwich in 1675. It was an armoury, the storage of warlike stores and provisions. The Public Records Office was inside there till that was moved away in the middle of the 19th century. Believe it or not, this was also a royal menagerie or zoo. Glance over your right shoulders, folks, you'll see what remains of 3-wire Barbary lion sculptures. They are standing on what remains of the Lion Tower. It was out there in the Lion Tower that the royal collection of exotic animals and beasts, they were held here right up until 1835, when one of our most famous soldiers, the Duke of Wellington, he takes over and he orders that all of those animals get moved down to Regent's Park. and they end up becoming the very first animals of London Zoo, founded from the animals first kept over there in the Lion Tower. Last but by no means least, this probably ranks as one of the most infamous prison complexes in the world. And over the years, many famous names have been incarcerated inside those walls. Many of those famous names, they are still incarcerated inside those walls, and I will show you where they are a little bit later on in the tour. Don't get too excited though, they are all dead. But for us to understand how they got deaded, I need to draw your attention now as it actually stands outside the fortress. If you look off into the distance there, folks, see a large white, very prominent building with a number of statues surrounding it. You might just be able to make out Father Thames in the centre there pointing out to sea. Now, that building was originally built for use by the Port of London Authority. Today, they are the ones that control all of the shipping on the River Thames. As such, that building up there has got absolutely nothing to do with that building there. Just you're not looking, madam. Yes, I'll look again. However, it does serve as a useful landmark to let me tell you about an open area just in front of that building and to the right. Now that does have a lot to do with the Tower of London. Now you want to look, don't you? It's called Trinity Green, and it stands up there in an area known as Tower Hill. And it was up there on Tower Hill between the 14th and 18th centuries that almost 400 people were going to lose their lives by means of block and axe. And that included 75 men of noble birth. Now, the first victim up there, that was a man called Simon Sudbury. He was the Archbishop of Canterbury, he was a politician, he was the Chancellor. He was murdered up there in 1381 during the Peasants' Revolt by peasants. You lot. Why? He introduced an unpopular tax. Unfortunately, we are no longer allowed to drag our politicians up there and cut their heads off. It'd be a nightmare for the traffic in London. There'd be a queue from here all the way down to Westminster and probably back again. 7 years later, 1388, the first legal execution up there was another Simon, Sir Simon Burley. And by a remarkable coincidence, the final victim up there in 1747 was also called Dave. Simon Fraser, the Lord Lovat. He was an 80-year-old Scottish lord who had to put to the second Jacobite rebellion led by Bonnie Prince Charlie. We got any Scots in the audience today? Really? That's not you putting your hands up. Oh, don't make me ask the other lot. Okay. Have we got any Americans in the audience that think they're Scottish? There's always some of you lot kicking about somewhere. All right, folks, just pause for a moment, okay? I just want you to imagine the scene up there on execution day. Thousands would have gathered around that raised platform, supporting the scaffold, in order they may witness the proceedings. Now, the prisoner, having first of all paid the executioner, then forgiven the executioner, would have delivered their final words, said their prayers. They then would have knelt down and placed their neck on a block of oak. They then would have had to give the executioner a word or a signal. Ready? The executioner would then bring down his axe, hopefully beheading his victim with just one clean stroke. They would then reach down and they would pick up that severed and still bleeding head, and it would be held aloft for all to see, blood still dripping from the neck. Turning to the assembled crowds, they will make the same proclamation. Behold, the head of a traitor, and so die all traitors. God save the king! And the crowd would go nuts and scream, God save the king! I mean, it was a great family day out. But for us to really get a sense of the bonding and the community spirit that existed on those days, I'm going to deliver that proclamation again. This time, instead of shouting, God save the king, you are all going to scream, God save the king, at the top of your voice, as if you've just watched the most amazing execution. I'm talking about an execution so good that you get blood on your face, 12 rows back. Behold, the head of a traitor, and so die all traitors. God save the king! God save the king! What is wrong with you? Especially you. Right, that head would have then been impaled onto a soldier's pike, and it would have been marched and paraded right through the streets of London, all the way down to London Bridge. And in those days, folks, London Bridge was the only bridge that crossed the River Thames. That head would then be displayed there, above the entrance into the city, as a sign of the fate that awaits all would-be traitors. Meanwhile, that headless corpse would have been thrown into a bloodstained handcart, wheeled all the way back here into the Tower of London, where it would have been promptly buried in an unmarked grave in the Chapel Royal of St. Peter ad Vincula. Very much like those headless corpses, we are going to make exactly the same journey up to that chapel. For the time being, at least, I'm going to allow most of you to keep your heads. But now, folks, I have got 49 minutes to try and cover 950 years of Tower history. In order for me to do that, I'm going to need your support in a couple of ways. I've only got a reasonably small group, so it shouldn't be much of a problem. If I say clear me a gap through here, or clear me a gap through here, I just need you to make this a space that I can actually walk through. Secondly, when I say come this way and follow me, that's all I need you to do. I live here. I've taken this tour before. I know where I'm going. Trust me. The faster that we move from block to block, the more stories of murder, treason, and executions I will be able to share with you. If we are going slowly, standing around, taking photos, trying to look at stuff, I'm just going to start talking about medieval architecture. And I know a great deal about medieval architecture, and I can promise you, none of it is interesting. Right, folks, are we ready to move?
Yes.
Are we ready to move quickly?
Yes.
You want to hear about murder?
Yes.
Treason?
Yes.
Execution?
Yes.
Killing children? Right, give me a little gap through here. Let's take through to the inner wall.